Okay, great. Thank you. Welcome to the Williston Development Review Board. It is September 13th, 2022. My name is Pete Kelly. I'm the chair of the DRB. If you are a Zoom participant, please sign in by renaming yourself on the participant toolbar. This is a hybrid meeting taking place in Town Hall and virtually on Zoom. All members of the board and the public can communicate in real time. Planning staff will provide Zoom instructions for public participation before we begin. Actually, let me redact that. Are you going to
go straight over?
Okay. We are not going to provide Zoom instructions tonight due to the truncated agenda. All votes taken at this meeting will be done by roll call vote in accordance with the law. If Zoom crashes, the meeting will be continued to September 27th, 2022. Let's start the meeting by roll call attendance of DRB members. Paul Christensen.
Present.
John Hemmelgarn is not present. Scott Riley.
Yeah, I'm present. Pete, pull the mic down to close to your face. You can barely hear you.
Okay, is that better?
That's a little better, not much.
We're gonna.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Pete, John just joined us.
I was muted. No, I'm not.
You were here, just hidden.
I was, yeah. I was trying to do it stealthily. I'm not sure what good that would ever do.
Can you guys hear me?
No,
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
why does it default? Why is it defaulting to my screen is defaulting to a black screen that says town meeting?
I see you, Scott.
You do? Yeah, I see you now too.
That's not necessarily a great thing.
No, it's not. Oh, now there's something weird going on. Oh, there we go. There's Pete.
Okay, so let's start the roll call again. Paul Christensen,
Present.
John Hemmelgarn,
I'm here.
Scott Riley,
Here.
Dave Turner,
Here.
Nate Andrews is not present, and Pete Kelly, chair, myself, I'm here. So we have 5 in attendance. We do have a quorum. Okay, so tonight's a truncated agenda. We've got 2 items on the agenda. Both are going to be opened and immediately continued to September 27th. Then we are going to approve meeting minutes from our last meeting. And we're doing meeting minutes tonight, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Pete,
Yes.
is there going to be any discussion as to which date these are continued to?
They're
Because
both-
I'd like to have that conversation.
Right. Why don't we have it now before I continue to a date certain?
I questioned adding 2 items to a full agenda when there's nothing on the next meeting agenda. I really am not that interested in being at a DRB meeting until late hours when it's not necessary.
Here.
So the first 2 applications on that are the Summerfield Catamount subdivision, which is, you may remember last year we did the pre-act for growth management.
I'm not getting anything that Simon's saying.
He's going to move closer. Stand by.
Thanks.
So the first application on that agenda is the Catamount Summerfield subdivision, which is a pre-act for growth management. So essentially that's a formality, well, subject to what the board thinks, we anticipate that being a formality in the same way that it was last year when they came in to do a pre-app to enable them to take part in growth management. The second application is a discretionary permit application to amend something that was approved earlier in the year for the CSWD access and scale house, which is just relocating the parking lot and slightly increasing it in size, which is also sort of an amendment application, relatively minor size.
The Catamount pre-app is not a small application.
It's not, well, the subdivision is not a small application. It's a big 138 unit. But you may remember last year in October, prior to them submitting their discretionary permit this April, they submitted a pre-app which simply enabled them to take part in growth management. Because in order to take part in growth management, you have to pre-app in the calendar year preceding.
Right.
So you may remember Emily did like a.
So they're looking for more. They're basically looking for more units for the existing permit.
Yeah. So they have.
I got it. Okay. Yeah, that's a little more of a formality. That you're right.
Okay, so John, comments, given what you just heard.
So I'm not, the Chittenden solid waste is a new hearing though, or not? Or is it just an amendment to one that was already there? I'm not on this really.
It's an amendment application. In, I think, April, the board approved a new access from Redmond Road, and a scale and the conversion of the existing sort of house that's there to a scale house. So it's looking at sort of realigning the parking lot rather. So essentially the parking lot becomes sort of linear rather than square. That's the only change. The access stays the same, the drainage stays the same, and the main access road and scale through the site, they also stay the same.
Well, my concerns remain in that, you know, the other one on here is a final plan review of what we had hoped would be a very quick hearing the last time. And we have no idea if that's going to be the case this time. Either of these other two could become more complicated. And certainly the two that are on the agenda are ones that are going to take some time. And so I don't know why. I'd like to take the two that decided they didn't want to have a hearing tonight that we're all here for, and move those to October 11th. Just because I just don't like the idea of putting this many items on a single agenda. I've stated that objection in the past. That's my proposal. You guys can decide if you don't like that. We can do it as it's proposed.
Okay. Thank you, John. Dave.
John, I take exception with your rudeness of not allowing us to earn this overtime pay.
So Dave Turner, what are your thoughts on this topic?
I'm fine with doing it all on the same night. I think the two will be fairly quick, so.
Paul?
We can do them all the same night as long as those two really do turn out to be short. If
And if
they
not,
start
we can-
Can't make that commitment. So given the fact that life is uncertain, what's your position on John's proposal?
I'll go for the overtime pay then. I'll go with Dave.
Okay, Scott Riley,
Push them back.
you're pushing back?
Yep.
So you're saying the two that we're continuing tonight, you're suggesting to continue them to October 11th?
Yes, sir.
Okay, on the tie break, I support pushing it to October 11th as well. And so that's what we will do. Okay, any other discussion before we open and continue each of the DP items?
Nope.
Okay. We're going to open DP 21-18, the annex. And we're not going to take any testimony. We're not going to have any discussion, and we're going to continue that until October 11th. Now we're going to open DP 22-06, which is Green State Realty, a new facility proposed at 4626 Williston Road. We are going to continue that application until October 11th as well. Next up is the meeting minutes. I don't have the meeting minutes date in front of me. What?
August 23rd.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of August 23rd, 2022?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 23rd, 2022 as written.
Thank you, Dave. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Scott Riley seconds it. Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, vote individually, please. Paul Christensen,
Aye.
John Hemmelgarn,
Yay.
Scott Riley,
Okay.
Dave Turner.
Yay.
The chair is a yay, 5 in favor, none opposed. Motion carries. The minutes of August 23rd, 2022 are approved as written. Is there any other topics to bring forth tonight before we adjourn?
I have nothing.
The volunteer event is Thursday at 5 o'clock. And if you're able to make it, that would be great. I'm planning to attend.
So just before you close the meeting. Emily, just make comments.
Okay, Emily, go ahead.
Oh, hi. I just pumped in. Simon texted me. Where are we in the conversation?
So what we've done is we've opened both agenda items and we've continued both to October 11th. The reason they were continued to October 11th in lieu of the second meeting in September as proposed in the agenda, is because we had a discussion as a group about having too much on the agenda for the second September meeting. And so we continued both of the items to be continued to October 11th.
Yes. So the first two items on the agenda, DP 2018, Ethan Allen Homes, that's going to be a 5-minute procedural hearing, that they pre-app before going to growth management. The CSWD application is also very minor. They're just reconfiguring the parking lot. So I'm expecting those two items to be very short. With the annex, I'm also planning on recommending a continuance on the 27th because there's going to be a lot for the DRB to work through that night. So it's likely it would get continued to October 11th before the DRB is deciding on, final conditions of approval for that one.
So what I'm hearing you're making the case for us to reconsider the continuation to October 11th that we just made.
That's correct. I would recommend, getting through what you can on the agenda on October 11th. Most of them the first two are simple items. The other two One will be continued, so yeah.
Oh, but we already continued that one. I'm not following you, Emily.
I think you got the date wrong.
I mean, the annex is the Snyder Group project, right? That we
That's
just
correct.
continued to the 11th, so we just skipped a step. So I think we're good.
I think what Emily's saying is if we were to hear that on September 27th, the annex,
Mhm.
that it's likely that given the complexity of the application, we would be continuing it to October 11th again. And that's a anticipated action on Emily's part. She's not saying that's certain. She's saying that it would not be unlikely. That's my
Correct.
interpretation of what you just said, Emily.
That's correct, Pete.
Okay.
And I'm failing to understand the advantage of doing that as opposed to just waiting until the 27th.
I think because the October,
Or the
because
11th, I mean.
by continuing it to October, one, there's space available on September 27th to keep the annex there. You're going to hear it anyways and continue it. So it simply pulls it forward 2 weeks from rather than kicking it down further down the road when we don't have, what Emily's point is that we really don't have that much business on the 27th.
Right, and so another way of saying what Scott just said is if we were to continue the annex and start the conversation on October 11th, and then if it plays out where it's continued again, which is what Emily anticipates will happen, then we would continue it to October 25. So to Scott's point, that whole sequence is accelerated by 2 weeks if we were to keep it on September 27th. Does that make sense now? I'm not saying you have to agree to it.
No, I think I understand, but
Okay. Okay, so with this additional information, do you remain steadfast, John, on continuing both to October 11th?
that would be my preference still.
Scott, where do you stand on this?
It seems to me, based on Emily's position, it makes sense to put it back on the 27th.
Yeah, I concur with you, Scott. Okay. So we're going to reopen DP 21-18, the annex, and we are going to continue it, a new continuance date. We're going to continue it to September 27th, 2022. We're going to reopen DP 22-06, which is the 4626 Williston Road project. And we're going to continue that also to September 27th, 2022. So both those applications have been continued. They've been continued to September 27th. We've approved the meeting minutes of August 23rd, 2022. Is there any other business to bring forth at this time?
We actually didn't vote on the minutes. We just voted yes and second, but we didn't actually vote on it.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did, Paul.
Yeah, there were
Then I'm really asleep on this one.
You voted.
There were five in favor, none opposed. The motion carried.
Okay, never mind. I'm half asleep today.
The heavy rain.
You voted aye.
Yeah, you voted aye. Okay, is there hearing none, no additional business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Absolutely.
So moved.
Okay, I'll take that as Paul made the motion. Scott Riley seconded it. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.